being here. I love your little Jersey faces. They might not all be Jersey. Who's from Pennsylvania? No one. Well, thank you guys for being here, truly, and you'll have the chance in July. You're not getting in, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We tried. But, you know, the municipal funds of Jersey can't allow for large venues. But enjoy the brick, and thank you for being here, guys. And the movie will be out soon, but thank you. It means a lot that you guys are here. Thank you.
Just stay right here, guys. I want you to assess what we have in the theater.
I love you all, right?
Thank you both.
So sorry.
Thank you. You're the best.
What's up, y'all? It's a pretty young screening. Any actual 8th graders here today? Oh yeah, you're with your parents? This will be weird. Thank you all for being here. I just want to thank you all for being in this room, sitting, facing one direction. There are very few places where we all sort of pay attention together, and there's an excuse for us to turn off our phones and look at one screen together. And a little louder in the hallway, please. I just, your attention is something very, very, very valuable that we take very seriously, and we hope we made something worthy of it. I don't want to talk too much about the movie. You guys are all free-thinking adults. You're not, actually. Some of you are children, but you're still free-thinking. So make of it what you will. I will just say, the movie's about two very specific times. 8th grade, which is horrible and sad and weird and scary and funny. And right now, which is very scary and very weird and sort of funny, but not funny at all. So the idea of being in 8th grade right now felt like it should maybe be a movie, so that's the movie we made. And we hope you like it. Thank you again for being here. This is 8th grade, everybody. Stay out of the projector.
First of all, I want to say this is such an impressive directorial video. Can you... That's exactly how I feel. The first time I saw it at Sundance, I was so pleasantly surprised, and I was like, I cannot believe this is his first feature. And on top of everything, you just capture that moment of coming of age in such a beautiful, genuine way. Can you talk about why you chose, it feels a little bit autobiographical, but yet you chose a female protagonist. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't like a choice initially. It was really like I wanted to write, initially I just wanted to write about the internet and how I was feeling, which was nervous. And my anxiety felt tied to the internet, so I just wanted to write something about that. I thought I'd write a bunch of characters that intersected and like, thought it would be some big tandem story. And then I found this voice of this girl and just, it made a lot of sense, and I felt like I could say everything I wanted with and through her. I mean, looking back on it, why? You know, like now that I have some distance, I can say why did it end up being a girl. I mean, I watched hundreds of videos of kids talking online about themselves. The boys talked about Minecraft, the girls talked about their souls, so it was just like slightly more interesting from the girls' perspective. It would just be like 90 minutes of Fortnite references if it was a boy. But like, girls play Fortnite too, but it just, the girls run a little deeper at that age, and maybe it evens off. I don't think it does, but and it was just, it is personal, but it's personal currently. You know what I mean? That's not my 8th grade experience. It feels much more, I relate to her much more now than I did then. And that was the hope, you know. I was very aware, though, that I was a man in charge of a young girl's story, but I wasn't writing a novel. I was making a movie, so, you know, I had a lot of collaborators, female collaborators around me that I knew I could rely on.
Beautiful job. Thank you for that. And speaking of Elsie Fisher, who is absolutely amazing in the film, can you talk a little bit about the casting process?
Yeah, she'd love to be here. She's a freshman now, so she's at school. And she stopped a week after she was cast. I mean, a week after she graduated 8th grade, we started filming, and then we stopped filming, and she went to her freshman year. And she didn't get cast in her school play. That's like a funny story right away. So I promised I would drag this man publicly, so Mr. Donia from Thousand Oaks High School sucks. But yeah, but no, it was a real challenge because I wanted to portray a type of person like me who is sort of very, people wouldn't think this about me maybe, but I'm very anxious about being in the spotlight or in front of a camera. And that's really hard in the world of child actors where they're all just so excited to be on camera. So it was a real challenge of, I wanted it to feel like a shy kid pretending to be confident, not a confident kid pretending to be shy, which is what all the actors felt like. So to find someone that was vulnerable enough to carry Kayla's truth, but also strong enough to carry a film on her shoulders felt like an impossible ask. But I found a little clip of her online and brought her in, and she was just immediately totally real and right. And then the movie, the rest of the movie is filled with a lot of kids from the area, kids that are here. I know there's some kids here that were in the film, you guys were in the drill scene. Hope it wasn't too traumatizing. I try to tell the kids we're having more. What was really great about having all these kids, we'd take kids from the actual school, from the surrounding area they were in, and I would go up on the weekends and just meet the kids that were extras or day players, just to get to know them personally, and so they felt comfortable. The whole thing was we wanted real kids, just real feeling, natural, of the age.
Sort of like you mentioned earlier, more than a coming of age story, it is about this duality of the life we curate online versus the reality, and how this affects especially kids and teenagers nowadays. I believe it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't think of it as, I know it is coming of age, but I couldn't think of it like that. I don't know. Sometimes if I didn't think of it like, oh, this is a young person's story and I'm an adult looking back with all this authority saying, okay, and now I'll guide you through the chaos that none of us understand when we were in it or out it. And by the time we're out it, it's now changed. So it was more just I think the internet makes 8th graders of us all. So if you wanted to talk about the way we behave on the internet, why not use an 8th grader? But yeah, I mean, it was just my belief that a story about a 13-year-old girl could be about everything, could be about the way we all feel. It doesn't just have to be a male poet in the woods for it to be about the human condition,
I know there are a lot of questions, so I'm going to open it up. Yes, go ahead. Okay.
One thing I wondered about is there's so many moments that seem so authentic, and I wonder, is there any, was it all scripted or was there some extemporaneous?
Yeah, no, it's really scripted. I mean, the only stuff that's not scripted is the Rick and Morty riff that they have, because I've never watched that show. I mean, it's a credit to the performances, you know what I mean? Her monologues are written so the thing about being yourself is, I'm reading these off paper, sorry. It was a very technical thing. I mean, there was leniency within the beats and within the words. I mean, it wasn't word perfect, but it's much more structured than it appears, and that's to the credit of the kid actors. We weren't making Babe or Homeward Bound, where it was just okay, you just be yourselves and you won't know what movie's going on and we'll just kind of make it out of what you do. They were acting, so yeah, there was much more control, because I didn't want it to be, okay, I'm gonna have to trick her into feeling uncomfortable and nervous. At the pool party, which is painful, but she was snapping out of that, laughing with the other kids and jumping in she was able. I was way more method than any of the other kids. The kids didn't give me, they would snap from something super intense to laughing and everything, and I was the psycho.
Was it hard making this movie, since being in 8th grade now was different from when you were in 8th grade?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about 8th graders now, if you want to learn anything about them, they're posting every single thing about themselves online, you know what I mean? So, you're in 8th grade? Oh, wow. So wait, in 8th grade now, going into, oh, damn, you guys look old. Cool. That's a compliment at your age, trust me. I don't know, did it feel right? Did it feel all right? Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was just I wanted to make something that was not nostalgic or remembered. Those movies are cool. You watch a movie and you feel oh, this is the writer-director's memory of this time. I just think the way we remember it is way different than what it is. People remember the time that you were in. They'll remember, oh, okay, I remember my first kiss or my first that. But really the experience of being in 8th grade is looking at the clock 5 hours left, tick, tick, oh my God. So we wanted to make a movie about this sort of white noise that was cut out of what you remember. So it was also just talking to the kids, what do you think? I told the kids every day, I don't. because I was never a 13-year-old girl, and I was never a 13-year-old right now. And I think the life you're living is different than the life I lived. A life kids 4 years older than you lived. So they were the experts. It was like making a World War II movie with veterans. Truly, like really, like I was like, I have them. So like, my movie's gonna come to you guys, not the other way around. So.
So basically, I'm a film student right now, and we're constantly being told not to use the internet as it's not necessarily cinematic, and it also dates our films. Obviously, this movie's on that.
Yeah, that's so wrong. But what is a film that's not dated? I don't even understand. Like Dogville?
I don't know. Literally, Hopper, the last conversation, right? He was just like, yeah, but it's an easy way out of situations, and it's like, why can't I just show my home screen?
Yeah, well, I'm sure people, if the cameras were around, would have been like, you can't put if someone's at the airport, you gotta have them in their horse and wagon go. Cars are such an out, because you can just get there really quickly. It's like, or whatever. Well, obviously airports weren't when horse and carriage were around. The metaphor broke down pretty quickly. But no, I think it's not right. I mean, there's technical challenges to shooting screens, frame rates, and things that can just make strobing and things look ugly. A huge part of the challenge was filming those practically, and that was just a huge trial and error thing. But I think screens, when filmed right, can be gorgeous. And I don't get why Barry Lyndon writing A Letter by Candlelight is gorgeous, but when the candle and the letter become the same thing in a phone, it's now dated. It's stupid. And what is dated? I mean, what the non-dated Breakfast Club? I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, cassette players everything's dated, and it's just like truth become like, I don't know. I just think that's wrong. I mean, but it's he doesn't get it. It doesn't mean anything to him, and he's lucky. But yeah, shoot the internet, of course. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? He's cool though. He's no Mr. Donia.
What do you think the hardest part of writing Kayla's character was?
I don't know, man. It was like it felt natural and wasn't hard. I don't know. It was so enjoyable. So it wasn't even on the scale of easy to hard. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like that. It was just like, the challenge is always just the fun part of making it authentic and being truthful and listening and being open and subjugating yourself to the truth that will eventually confront you in the actor when they're alive, and not being obsessed with your script, but being obsessed with the person and how they work with it. I don't know. It was like keeping up with the hashtags. I don't know. Keeping up with Gucci. I don't know. That's her thing. She made that up. I don't know what it means.
So I wrote a paper about your song Repeat Stuff last semester.
So sorry about your GPA, I assume.
But it was in regards to the idea of just cynicism, and I noticed that as like a theme throughout all your comedy, where you're able to just like make fun of that. But I felt like in your movie, it was very apparent that she becomes more cynical as the film goes on because of like what happens to her, and she kind of learns to deal with it by the end. So do you feel like 8th graders in the audience, or anybody at that age right now who gets to watch this film, do you think they'll be able to develop the stuff that takes some people till the end of high school to realize about themselves earlier?
You mean in terms of becoming more cynical or not?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, she's not ending cynical, in the movie. I mean, in terms of my own cynicism, I had spent a sort of career talking about things ironically and satirically and cynically, and I felt like they had been weak tools for me. I felt like I was hiding behind them. I thought it was really easy to be cool and above everything and making fun of everything, and I wanted to make something very genuine, and something raw and honest and vulnerable, and not insulate myself with irony or cynicism. But I don't know. I mean, like, it's not, I think there's a numbness. I mean, like, part of the reason the movie's even set where it is in 8th grade is because I felt like high schoolers, by the time they're high school, they're just like totally blasé and over everything. I don't know if it's cynical as much as it's just like totally numb, just because the amount of stimulation they get every day. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, like, as much as hopefully she can be relatable to people, it's a story about one person, not necessarily everybody. but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what she becomes, because that is a time that hasn't happened yet. I don't know if there's even going to be a country by the time she gets to high school. So, you know what I mean? Like, I hope so.
So we have time just for one more question. Yes.
Why did you choose to portray a single father?
That was what she's gonna say. Again, like choice isn't like choosing is not necessarily what happens. Like, it feels right and it makes sense, and then I do it. So that's at least how it happens. But I can now like look back and go like, oh, why did that happen that way? And it probably, I mean, one reason that I thought of, I was like, oh, that's probably right, is like, she didn't have an older female presence when she was being written. You know what I mean? Truthfully, like, I felt like both of them. I felt like a young, nervous kid on the internet, and I felt like an out-of-touch old dude that had no idea what she was going through. So, yeah, I think it was a way to almost portray my limitations in my perspective on her as a man. Probably.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here.